Definitely an introduction to an album. Um,
Yes.
so what are your thoughts?
Well, so it starts very softly and then slowly builds and builds until there's just this explosion of sounds that's very abrupt and kind of catches you off guard. And I think that is a very fair opening and introduction to the album, and is kind of foreshadowing the crazy wildness of what's to come.
Yep. Do you think, as since this is the first track and it's just like an overview of the album, do you think
Yeah.
that it's a linear narrative, or do you think it's all over the place and people have to piece it together?
My personal interpretation of this is I think the album is telling kind of a linear story, yeah. I feel like most of the pieces are in order and have their own like place
Mm.
and section or whatever. Yeah.
This one ends with a transition to
Yeah.
Borsch, which I really like.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts
I
on
love
this?
smooth transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So this one, in contrast from the chaos of the previous track, is a very slow, soft, down tempo song. Um, it's fairly normal. It has piano, nice saxophone, smooth connected synths, fantastic. It's in a major key, which makes it sound happy, and that is generally the case when it's in a major key. So this is what I'm. This is what I came up with. If you look at the doc, so
Mm-hmm.
despite the kind of uplifting and dreamlike sound created through the major key and then like the little synths going on, I feel like the lyrics are very conflicting,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the phrases that he says have a lot of negative connotations, such as was being in deep shit. I feel my hands cold and distant. I hate you. An open wound, an itch.
Mm-hmm.
Things like death, scraping knees. Like that's all some not great stuff.
Yeah. Knowing what's
And
to come from the album, this is like the moment he realizes the car accident is gonna happen.
yeah, like this is kind of him uh
Just before.
realizing,
Yeah.
yeah, like he's about to go through something and he knows it, but I think he's trying to cope with it. I think
Yeah.
that's what he's trying to say in this by distracting himself and kind of ignoring it and going, "I'm fine. Things are
Yeah.
great. This isn't happening."
Because
Which like
knowing. Oh,
valid.
sorry, go on.
No, that was it.
Oh. Because knowing the lyrics of other songs and looking into them, he's definitely. He definitely has an addiction to something. It's never stated what, and
Yeah,
his addiction is a
yeah,
big part of the story. And I think
yeah.
this is him high on whatever he's addicted on. It.
I feel like yeah, I feel like the addiction kind of starts later in the album. I don't know if it starts right off the bat, like in this song in
Mm,
particular, but you're right. There's definitely something that he is addicted to.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
don't from the lyrics and the way he sings them. I don't think he's sober during this. I think specifically
Mm.
the um, I feel my hands cold and distant in the steering wheel. I think that's not only him, like his body realizing that something is wrong, but also his body. I wouldn't say shutting down, but somewhat along those lines.
Well, that could just be like his body's initial reaction to this realization. Because sometimes you receive news and you react. That doesn't mean you're like on something.
I mean, fair, but it also could mean
Yeah.
you're on something.
You got me there.
Because also the where is it? What's the end? The I don't know if this makes complete sense in English. The I change my face with the floor. If I were just to say that to you, what would you interpret it as?
Maybe that means that he's like falling face first onto the floor.
Yeah, that's
and that
exactly
he's
what it means. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like the sentence in Portuguese makes complete sense to me. If you were just to show me this, I'd be like, oh yeah, he falls a lot, face first. But you show me the English one, and I'm like, huh? What are you on about? Translating this was definitely. God, don't ever put me translating stuff again. Translating expressions is complicated.
I think you did a good job though, because like
you.
most of it made sense. Yeah.
I think that no, actually, the title is very giving of what the song is gonna be, because the title is just "He Dies at the End," which is ironically, "End" is the first song.
Yeah.
Which links these two.
I mean, the first song, in a way, kind of sounds like an ending, because like.
Yeah, wrapping everything up.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, considering it's the first song.
Yeah, and also the Harakiri of the album.
The album or the song?
Oh, like just what it means, like the ritual. Yes. So like that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, what'd you think about this? Actually, before you say your opinions, I do want to talk about the big elephant in the room, okay? This sounds extremely silly in English. And Apaz took me so long to find out what it is, because I'm not...
I really like it, bro.
Because I'm not from Madeira, or Madeira, but I refuse to say it in English. So it took me quite a while to find out what it is, and shout out to these two...
Wait, say it again for you?
Apaz.
No, the place.
Oh, Madeira.
Madeira?
I love British people trying to pronounce words in different languages. Did I just call you British?
You did call me British. I feel like I can do a pretty good British accent, though.
Absolutely not. You're British now.
Excuse me.
Shout out to these two YouTubers that explained expressions from Madeira. They really carried me.
So it's Madeira.
Madeira, yes.
Okay, cool.
You can say it the English way. I don't mind. I won't say it, but you can say it.
Madeira.
It sounds so silly. This sounds so silly in English, but it doesn't. I didn't want it to sound formal, because this is not formal. Bue is a very informal Gen Z way of saying a lot. I don't know where it comes from. If I were to guess, it's probably from either Mozambique or Angola. Because there's a large number of those communities in Portugal. I think the bro makes it kind of cringe in English, but it gives the...
I think you would be correct in saying that.
Yeah. But it, like, o Apaz, I just mixed Portuguese and English there. The Apaz makes it not as cringe as bro, because first of all, it's not mainstream, so it's not a tired word anymore. And also it gives more of not only sarcastic feeling, but also very personal. Like, this word comes from a very small community, and this is directed towards the community. But overall, the user bro did make it less formal, which was kind of good if you set aside the cringe.
Here's what I pulled from it. So this one is another contrast from the previous songs. It's still in a major key like the one before it, so it still has like happy vibes. Not a whole lot different musically, in that there's still the male chest voice, drums, synths. There's no sax as far as I detected, though. It does end rather abruptly, which kind of has a callback to theme. The song opens up with the first verse explaining that things are not great.
Yep.
But then
First line of the song is "Shut your mouth just for a minute."
the world is exploding. This is the end of the world. Oh, but so this is like reinforcing the themes of the previous song, but the happier sound, in contrast with that, and the romantic lyrics, and well, not necessarily romantic as you just described, but like very personal lyrics, make it seem as though this connection and this relationship, in whatever form it may be, the narrator is using it as a distraction from the situation that they're facing. And I go on to say later in my notes that I think that might be one of the things that the narrator is addicted to. This connection that they're using as a distraction. So maybe not like an actual literal drug, but this other thing
Almost
that
like
they're using it.
almost like codependency in a way.
Yeah. And especially because there's like that one song further on that has like severe Hannibal vibes, well, Hannah Graham vibes.
Yes. It's not this one, is it? This one, yes. It's I don't deserve you. I just realized that we never got the chance to like describe you, like say that, oh my god, yeah, you studied music.
Oh,
you know what
were
we're
we
talking
supposed
about.
to do that?
I mean,
Are we supposed to do that?
I mean, it would be convenient.
Hi, that sounds so awkward. Okay. Hi, I'm Kyler. Wait, what else should I say?
Are you a music student?
I am indeed. Okay, so hi, I'm Kyler. I am a musician. I have been for a very long time. I play 4 different instruments and I sing. I'm in a symphony, and this fall I will be majoring in music therapy in college. Yay!
And he's also from Alaska.
Okay. Yeah, I live in Alaska.
I definitely think that Apaz is the moment where the collision happens. Not only because of the video, but because of like, I don't know, it feels too happy. It feels like almost like when you're in an accident and you think back at like the memories flash before your eyes.
Oh,
that
yeah.
type of thing.
Okay. It's very interesting hearing your analysis of this, seeing the music video and knowing about like the car crash and all that, because I didn't see that. So I'm just going off of what I hear from the lyrics. So, there was not a whole lot going on in this one. In the Apaj interlude, there was this like, there was this fade into a piano traveling down a scale, and that kind of added to the mysterious vibe. But yeah, it's kind of chaotic with little structure, same as the other interludes. Perhaps this means that the distraction isn't working as well as the narrator had hoped.
Yeah.
And so there's still some of that badness lurking through. So that's what I got.
The whole track is quite spooky, actually.
Yeah.
I think
yeah, it's like there's
added by the video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's very harsh, abrasive synths.
Yeah.
It's very ambient, but also kind of ominous.
Yeah.
Just unsettling.
Quite loud, actually,
So yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add now that you've seen the video to it? For it. I keep changing that.
Well, seeing that we're back in a car, that adds to that adds to the story that you're piecing together.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously you've had more of this context than I have. But
because I'm so normal about this.
You are, it's true.
Never been so normal about an album and an artist. Apart from Hatare, that's an exception.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to add for this one.
Outra vez por aqui? Ouvi falar tanto de ti, chegou boca a boca, gota a gota. Explico enfim o que o povo faz por aqui. Assim.
I love this one.
This is so theater kid core, it's amazing.
I know. Were you a theater kid?
No. I was an art kid.
Okay. Most of my friends are theater kids, but yeah, I am the music kid. Banger.
I think this is the one, not only being the longest, but the one that's more clearly telling a story and a narrative. Something that made me raise an eyebrow when I was translating this is that these are the official lyrics. I got them from Genius. And this part right here where it says Não tenho respeito, it translates to I don't have respect. But that doesn't make sense in the context. And when I was listening to it, it kind of sounded like mantém o respeito, which means keep the respect. Like a constant...
The respect?
What'd you say, sorry?
Keep the respect, you said?
Yeah, like ongoing, make sure you're still respectful type of thing. That would make more sense.
You're respectful or you're respected?
No, stay respectful, basically.
Okay.
Because these sound like rules that the main character is being told.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go against the official lyrics, but I did want to note that when we're now analyzing this. Passing the microphone over to you.
So, this is what I got out of this. Again, total departure from the previous sounds, and this is not an unusual occurrence, as we've learned. So it starts out very slow in the beginning. It sounds very romantic with the orchestral ensemble, the piano, and we get some very, very theatrical and exaggerated vocals throughout the piece. And that only gives way in the bridge when we get those very soft, careful, precise vocals that almost sound like kind of a lullaby, and almost give that kind of vibe through the lyrics as well. So, and also, when it's not slow in the beginning, there's so many tempo changes. It goes from like mid-tempo to very fast, back to mid-tempo, back to very fast, and it's just a very chaotic journey. So, also, at the 3-minute mark, there's another just very random, very abrupt explosion of sounds, and that's a callback to the album opener and just the general chaos that is being experienced through this album. So I feel like the lyrics show the denial, purposeful ignorance of the situation that we've seen previously, just completely giving way to acceptance of it and almost leaning into the absurdity of it. I feel like that's emphasized through the dramatic and theatrical vocals, because it's making it seem like the narrator is accepting it fully and with no more hesitation, and almost seeming a bit crazy in doing so. And that can be seen through the tempo changes and whatnot. Like I said before, the softness of the bridge paired with the lyrics of that section give a lullaby feel. And again, like someone with experience, perhaps on this type of situation, is giving the narrator who doesn't have experience that it's gonna be okay as long as you don't think too hard or worry too much and just kind of go with the flow of things, kind of, or else things are gonna be way much worse than they actually are and need to be. That's kind of what I got out of it.
Yeah. We have quite different, not assumptions, but interpretations of the song. You
Ooh.
think that the whole song is still from the same character singing it, right?
For the most part, not the bridge.
Apart from the bridge, yeah.
The bridge, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that not a singular part in the song is the same character that we've known. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that all of it, apart from the bridge, is what we know as the devil singing it, or Satan.
Mm.
And that's very obvious with, I'll start with me, I'll start with the flames, with the pentagrams, I'll start with me.
And I spoke to God.
Yeah, spoke to God,
but never in my underworld. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah, that was my interpretation, and I love saying this because I spoke a lot with my friends about it, and it was like the devil from the Bible.
Whoa. No, the devil from down the street, actually.
And it's just some white guy.
Yeah.
This whole song, I just love the way that
It's so good.
it's so good. I just love the way João is singing it. He puts
You know.
all that he has into it. And fun fact, you know the what would you call orchestra at the end in the outro?
Yeah. Well, and in the beginning.
Yeah. I actually, because I consume media in like a normal amount, like every single person.
Sure.
I listened to a podcast where João was in, and he
Yeah.
said that this was actually recorded in a family dinner, I think, and it's his family helping with the orchestra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So they're like playing all the instruments and stuff?
I think it's just this song, but I don't know if it's more. I know he mentioned this song in specific.
Okay, that's really cool though.
Yeah. I do want to mention.
Ooh.
I love how most, like, the assumption is that the devil is a male figure. So that's why João's voice
But
sounds...
then it's a she.
João's voice sounds quite deep throughout the whole song. And then you get to the bridge, and God, I love non-binary people, and it sounds more feminine. So my assumption is, well, the devil can take multiple forms, yes. But I think the bridge is actually God.
Interesting.
Because this whole song feels like the main character has died. And they're now in this limbo-like state where they don't know if they're going to heaven or hell.
Okay.
That's why this song being almost like in the beginning of the album made it feel like, for me, it was a non-linear narrative. But then
Yeah.
when they're talking about bets, and I'm like, alright, I know where this is going. It's still linear. But going back to the bridge, there's a lot of story and lore in this song.
Yeah.
This feels like the devil is being realistic and saying, you are most likely going to end up in hell. This is what's going to happen. And then in the bridge, God comes in as like, if you want to have a chance of coming into heaven, you can't hesitate. You're perfect as I made you. You can't get confused. Don't ask questions. Don't be suspicious.
Do you think the garden in the title is referencing like the Garden of Eden?
I did think that, yes. Actually, going back to the title, this is not how you say garden in Portuguese. It's... I tried to look for a translation, like a direct translation to Jardel, and it gave me like a very close word in French, and I couldn't find what it meant, but I still, whenever I say Jardel, I immediately think it's Jardim, which Jardim means garden. But I think it might be. I feel like this title would be better for me to analyze if I had studied past year 5 in Portugal. It might have some religious connotation that I don't know about because I didn't study Catholicism in Portuguese.
Yeah.
like there was a lot of lyrics in this album that referred to religious themes, and I didn't really realize what they were, so I asked a friend of mine for help translating, and then he said, "Oh no, okay, there's various meanings to this, but I think the one with the context actually means this very like specific religious thing." And I can't remember exactly what it is now, but this whole album is more religious than I actually thought it was when I first listened to it. But this whole song is just literally the devil and God being like, actually, let's see where you end up. And actually,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched it, but because I watched Hazbin Hotel really close to. I watched it really closely to when I started listening to the album. This whole song feels like something that would be in the show.
Wait, isn't Hazbin Hotel kind of like a musical?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's this part, if you read the beep, you say, "I'll make your proposal. You'll stay here. You'll stay really close to me, and your friends run from the dangers I've established. Or they'll stay here, but you'll go back without a frenzy. If you don't fuck up, you can have this whole offer." Basically, he's saying, okay, you can either stay in hell and your friends will live in safety, or you can throw your friends under the bus and you'll go back to life. And I think it's pretty obvious which one he decided on, because we still have like 10 more songs to go through.
Yeah. I don't really know how I completely missed the religious themes, but you know what? We're good.
I mean, it is a different language, and I didn't
True.
I didn't really annotate the translation. A very sad song, actually.
Yeah. Unless you're Hannibal Lecter and you think this is like the sweetest song ever.
we keep it's just because that's how we met. It's what we are obsessed with, but we keep drawing parallels to Hannibal.
Maybe he did this knowingly. Maybe he was trying to make a Hannibal song.
You know,
Anagram song.
he did say he did watch it when he was younger, which is a little bit concerning considering that show shouldn't be watched when you're that young. But
No.
I think this plays into the codependency that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, yeah.
Go on, I'm handing you the stage.
Okay. So this one also has a very romantic sounding instrumental with the guitar, the piano, the very slow sound. So again, it's very sweet sounding, but the lyrics are very graphic and gruesome, which is quite a contrast. I feel like they could be about two things, and I want to know what you think about it.
Yeah, go on.
I feel like could either be about the previously mentioned love that was being used as a distraction, and it's unhealthy Hanagram style, all-consuming style, or I feel like it could be about the negative situation itself and how it's really taking a toll on him and damaging him.
Because my assumption,
well, I mean, like
I know what you're saying. My assumption was the first one, that it's still talking to the person that they were conflicted with. Because I know there's in this narrative, when he dies, there is definitely somebody there with him. He's the only one that passes away and goes into that limbo state. But there was definitely somebody else with him. Because they keep mentioning how they're not talking to the viewer, and they're not talking to themselves. Because later in a lyric, they say that they don't regret, like they don't regret anything they did, but they do feel bad for some of the stuff they've done. But in the lyric in, I think it was Apaz, it says that I hate you for being right. So that's probably not to himself, because he never shows any signs of disliking himself, really. It just feels like a last ditch attempt of seeking forgiveness.
Yeah.
And it seems quite graphic because they have all to gain and nothing to lose. This is so heavily encoded. As somebody who enjoys quite graphic depictions of love in media, not in real life, for the love of God.
Yes.
As an atheist, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Like, your fist a trigger to be pulled, your lips are a weapon to my mouth, I want to see you try. You have me in your hands, spit me into the floor, lick the blood on your mouth, cut me by the tendon, by my hand's fingers, I won't tell anyone. And the letter bleeds
crazy.
slowly. It's
Oh.
it goes in media. It's a very big dedication of love to be this vulnerable. And the whole album follows this idea that being vulnerable about your feelings is almost the hardest part for this character. That they hide behind like this mask of being rude and self-centered, but they'd never. I think this is one of the only times where they let that down, and I don't think they gain anything from it. I think they're left alone. I think this is them, like Jardel mentioning. I think this is them setting the record straight.
Yeah.
This is him like trying to seek redemption, trying to go back to life.
Ooh, back to the religious themes.
Yeah. And I think and I do think this was his redemption. I think him being honest, it was what let him go back to life. He didn't. He did gain something from it. So, yes.
Okay. Do you still want me?
Yes.
To
this will to say that I do want to hear your second interpretation. Yes.
Okay. So, with the sound of it being very romantic and stuff, but with the lyrics being so gruesome and about such negative things, I feel like maybe this is kind of where the addiction to his struggling starts to really amp up. So you have me in your hand, spit me onto the floor, lick the blood on your mouth. Like, it's very, as we've stated, like Hanagram vibes, and it's so like dependent on these bad things. So I feel like, I don't know if I'm right about this, probably not, but it sounds like he's just really starting to almost enjoy the bad stuff that he's being put through.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like he's such a rock bottom that anything better than rock bottom, no matter how bad it is, will be better.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like how a lot of people, when they're like depressed, they would rather feel bad than numb because at least they're feeling something. It's like that kind of vibe.
Yeah, like drowning in your own misery. Yeah, he's at
like he wants more of this so he can keep feeling something and not numb.
Yeah,
you know,
he's at rock bottom. The codependency is faltering because the other party doesn't want to be involved anymore. And they're quite literally at the verge of being in hell. So they'd rather seek self-destructive behaviors and not care for the outcome. Not care for his own well-being, really. So, instead of having nothing, he goes for something bad, which is most likely where his addiction starts, There's, I think, with the second interpretation, the sense of like romance to the song could also be them finding comfort in whatever substance they're abusing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I go more into that with Pólvora. Wait, Pólvora?
Pólvora.
Okay.
Honestly, I love this album with my whole heart, but Fósforo, I just misgendered.
Oh god!
I just misgendered the word. Fósforo has like a special place in my heart It's just it sounds
It
so
it sounds like
good.
it sounds like you're walking into a club or something.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Also, the best
I
way
love that too much.
I can put it is that it wraps around my heart like it's hugging it. It's such a good beat.
Ooh,
It's just
that's
that sounded way more
poetic.
poetic than I wanted it to sound like. I'm just being corny. I love this song.
To me, okay, I feel like this song kind of represents a shift in perspective from the narrator, and that can be represented from the sound. And we'll get to hear more of that shift in Pólvora. Is that right? Is it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I think, as I said, with him the narrator starting to enjoy this negative stuff, I think we're really going to hear more of that in Pólvora. I think, yeah. This shift from wanting to ignore the problem to fully embracing it and becoming obsessed with it and needing more. Yeah.
For me, Fósforo. Okay, if we're following it as a linear narrative, Jardel was them being in a limbo, and Eu Não Te Mereço was them leaving, like trying to leave the limbo, was them setting the record straight, was them seeking redemption. And the transition of Fósforo, almost like walking into a club, might be them walking back to Earth. It's them having achieved the redemption, it's them getting a second chance, and it's them trying again, and now with an addiction on their back.
Yippee!
Yahoo!
Beijos dejo pelo chão. Aperta a minha trela, eu deixo pólvora e fricção. Dá-me tudo até queimar a pele. Não resistas, eu aguento mais. Estou a arrebentar.
The ending on that chord too.
I feel very normal about this song.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't write a lot about it.
Yeah, I didn't do any of the
Yeah.
medium or melody. I just did the little paragraph thing. There's a music term that I am forgetting the name of, and it's driving me insane, and that I wanted to talk about that with the last chord there. Why don't you talk first and I'll think about this? Wait, hold on. Ooh, I was right. Oh, okay. Okay, so there's this thing in music called cadence, which in Western musical theory means kind of the end of a phrase in which the melody or harmony creates a sense of full or complete or partial resolution. So the last chord that this song ends on kind of doesn't feel complete. Like there's a bit of anticipation that there's going to be another chord after that kind of completes the song, but we don't get that. So that kind of leaves me a bit distraught. I don't know about you, but that is something that I experienced from hearing that song.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone who doesn't know things about music theory would also pick up on that, but
It's definitely one of those songs that it ends and you're like, wait, no, I need more. And then you put it on repeat.
Would YouTube copyright it if we just play the last 5 seconds or so?
Oh, I can edit it afterwards. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay. Can you? Yeah, go back. There should be so da da, when you're left on the da, it doesn't feel complete. But if you go up a half step and go da 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 da, that feels more complete. Do you agree?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So the fact that he left us on this kind of cliffhanger. I don't know if that was like an intentional thing that adds to the story or not, or if that was just a silly musical decision, but I liked it. I also disliked it because I want more of a complete feeling. But anyways, so this song,
that ending actually might link to the story, because I think this whole song links back to his addiction and how he just wants more. So what a better way to end the song than to leave the listeners wanting more.
Yeah, very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, and I got to talk about like a music theory thing. Okay, anyways,
oh my God, no, so this is what you're here for.
That's crazy. What? But anyways, so this song is obviously very happy, very upbeat. And the lyrics, I think this ties in with the song 2 songs ago, and like the second theory that I had, where this is him really falling in love with the pain and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as the song is called Gunpowder, I feel like this negativity is almost like the gunpowder setting him off, kind of getting him high. I feel like, yeah, the narrator really is finding joy in the suffering and getting addicted to it, so much so that they're asking for more. So that's what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, I have a similar, basically the same conclusion, really. Did anything change after watching the video?
Well, it ties into Fósforo. Fósfora?
Fósforo. With an O at the end.
What? Fósforo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that definitely ties into that with how it sounds like you're walking into a club. I feel like all of the people dancing with each other, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, again, like a euphoric vibe. He's experiencing lots of goodness, lots of joy, happiness. Even when things aren't actually so great in reality.
Yeah. It could also be like that euphoria that he's feeling could be 100% just the drugs. Like he could be blinded about what's actually happening, which then leads to what in the music video everybody's running away from, which is where he gets to a point where he's so blinded that he is not only self-destructive but destructive to the two ones around him as well.
Yeah.
Something that I found quite interesting after we developed that idea of he has a codependent relationship with the other person is that he only starts crawling across the floor after it's shown that there's people kissing.
Okay.
Can you kind of pick up what I'm putting down?
No.
As in, the video up until now has him just having fun. He's having the time of his life, he's in the club, he's just enjoying this music, and then this part where it slows down, and first of all there's an outfit change, and then there's shown to be two couples, which is in the song, where is it, let me find, I don't want to sing it, my voice is not good. I drop mouth to mouth, I sigh your kiss, I crawl across the floor, tighten my leash, I leave gunpowder and friction. That is quite literally what is happening in the video.
Yeah.
Except it's not him doing it, it's other people. And I think that then can quite leave a sour taste in his mouth of, I could be doing this, but the person walks out of my life. And they quite literally left me to die. So that's when he kind of...
I don't want to remember.
Yeah, he is then like pushed over the edge. Don't think he's as sober as he was when he started the video, and then self-destructive behaviors then become not only self-destructive, if that makes sense. I know there's a term for it, but I completely forgot. He's like lifted up, which is a good metaphor for being high, if you ask me. And then after that, it all goes to chaos in a split moment.
Yeah.
And while everybody's in chaos, he's there just dancing. And he's still enjoying it. And he's having more fun now. Nobody else is enjoying their time apart from him. It's almost like he got his revenge. This is very leaning on the first interpretation of there is somebody that he is interested in, that be a friend, that be a romantic partner. If we're leaning on the second interpretation, then the kissing could just be a metaphor for seeing people feed into the same addiction, and then he's driven over the edge and influenced to do more than he wished to do.
Yeah. I really love how this one sounds, though. It sounds very early 2010s. It sounds like a Nelly Furtado song.
Did you know Nelly Furtado's Portuguese?
Really?
Yeah. She's Canadian Portuguese, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't know that.
Linking the Portuguese people together.
Like, it's the percussion. That's what makes me think of Nelly Furtado.
Did I ever... Now that I'm thinking about it, did I ever translate what Fósforo means?
Did you?
No, I'm asking. Do you know what Fósforo means? Like, I translated Pólvora, which means gunpowder. Did I ever translate Fósforo?
I don't think so.
Fósforo, which is phrased as a question, actually. It means matches, and is then answered by Pólvora, which means gunpowder. Rather excitedly, actually.
But, like, you know the Nelly Furtado song, Promiscuous?
Yes.
Or Promiscuous Girl,
Yeah.
or whatever? Like, I feel like this is very reminiscent of that percussion.
They're two bangers as well.
Yeah. Like, that is the only thing I hear when I listen to this song, which isn't a bad thing. I love that song.
If I'm not wrong, this was one of the first visual things they did for the album. It was the first
that's
thing
exciting.
they edited, at least, from what I heard from my very normal media consumption.
Well, after listening to it again, hearing the I'm the match watching the fire, I feel the flames, I burn in silence, paired with Leave Me in the Cold, there's some contrast there, some juxtaposition.
The whole song is very back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, I was listening to it and trying to pair it together. I was gonna pick up on what you picked up, actually, the fact that he's comparing himself to a match, that he's kind of the reason why a fire started, he's kind of the reason why a problem started, is the...
And that kind of brings about, like, gunpowder imagery again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The leave me in the cold, leave me alone, I can't, I won't run away. It's my way of being to always want more, these wounds from my homeland. This, I didn't translate it actually, it was my friend. I showed the lyrics and I was like, Chagas. It was, remember how I mentioned earlier that there was a word that had like 4 different meanings? It was Chagas.
Yeah.
It could mean a wound, it could mean a wound in a very religious sense, it could mean a plant, and it could mean something else that I don't remember right now. The whole chorus is very... It's my way of being to always want more. It's very... Do you know how people say that fires are greedy? And they're hungry? That how fires will never stop eating? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is very weird compared to the leave me in the cold.
Yeah.
In a sense, I think they're trying to say that they know they're destructive. And they want to be left alone. Because he can deal with the fire alone.
Well, I feel like he's been aware of that this whole time, though. They just really cared about it.
Yeah, like he, especially with the addiction now, he knows he's destructive.
Yeah.
He's not really gonna do anything about it, apart from not being around others, so that the fire doesn't spread. That's the whole leave me in the cold, my way of being to always want more.
Yeah.
It's so typical of me not to confess. It's my way of being to always be in the way. And these wounds from my homeland make it seem like these habits have always been with him since childhood. That it's a trauma type thing. That this is the consequence of growing up the way that he did. Maybe his family, maybe the community, maybe just his nationality and watching everything happen around them. The jealousy part was when I first tried to interpret these lyrics, I was like, what are you trying to say right now? The jealousy.
What is the jealousy?
Only you know how I get weaker. Jealousy, only you know how well I deserve it. This feels like he's speaking back to the person that he had a codependent relationship with. That was the only person that knew how weak he can get. He was literally there in his weakest moment when he was dying. And only you know how well I deserve it.
do you think the narrator could be jealous because that person is no longer with them
Yeah.
and being affected?
Jealousy of
And
what
they
could
wish
have
that-
happened.
Yeah, okay.
That type of thing, yeah.
I just got really tired.
And then the burning is way better than nothing. That circles back to what we said a couple songs ago, of he'd rather have
Rather feel something
Yeah.
than nothing.
yeah, but would rather feel something bad than feel numb.
Yeah.
I think that the weirdest thing for me is trying to assimilate the lyrics to whatever the hell is happening in this visualizer. I mean, it clearly links to the album cover. It's him running away in blue sand, I think, completely
Yeah.
naked, which is probably him running away from his problems. But I don't know why the sand is blue. And this is clearly like the ghosts from Apaz coming back and
Mm-hmm.
quite literally taking away all their clothes, and him being completely unresponsive throughout, and the matches lighting on and off. I don't know if that's how you say it in English.
Yeah. I think
throughout
the
song.
nakedness is definitely going back to vulnerability and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
There's a part in the song where he says that. Hold on. Yeah, the shame won't leave me alone, and you know how it kills me. Break and empty, you're in my wounds. Shame won't leave me alone, and you know how much it kills me. The break and empty is almost being told like an order.
Wait, what?
Party vazia, the break and empty, is being told almost like an order. Like they're ordering the person to break and empty
Okay.
him, probably. You're in my wounds, which means that basically he won't really get rid of the person. They will never stop thinking about the person.
Yeah.
Shame won't leave me alone. He probably won't get over the person that easily. And every time
No.
they think about the person, shame comes back to them, because they dedicated a song to them. They saw the person saw them at the lowest, and he was still left alone, which is where shame comes. And then you know how
Yeah.
it kills me, and that it is quite literally killing him, and it quite literally has killed him.
Yeah. And they're like, where did I go wrong?
Yeah. This is in Spanish, actually, which is, I was like, why is this starting in Spanish? Nothing.
How much does Spanish and Portuguese overlap?
From experience, Portuguese people can understand Spanish people. Spanish people have difficulty understanding Portuguese people. They can make out some words, but not as well as the other way around.
Okay.
That is the most abrupt ending so far.
I don't know what that.
That is, it just ends. It just ends. How
I know, but some of the tracks have like random like at the end. This is just boom, we're done.
But he's
I feel like
he's cut off mid-sentence.
yeah, I feel like the more chaotic ends are more jarring. I don't know.
What'd you have to say? This is the one that I struggle the most to try and link lore-wise.
Right, let me. Okay. I didn't really have too much to say about the story and the lyrics, but so in the beginning we start off with the screaming and the loud engine, and that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the piece. It switches back and forth between guitars and bass, both of which are very heavy, but still the change in timbre. And if you're unfamiliar with timbre, that is a music term that describes not the pitch of a note, and pitch being like, or like if it's an A or a D or whatever, but it's the tonal quality. And I don't know if that makes any sense just for me saying those words, but it's like what separates an E note. Okay, you know the G note in the MCR song?
Yes.
Okay, like picture like a G note. Like imagine if that was played on a violin as opposed to a piano. Like it's the same note, but it's the timbre that separates the sounds and makes you go, oh, this is a violin, this is a piano. It's not the same instrument, they sound different.
Yeah.
So while both of those instruments, the guitar and the bass, those are both heavy, those are both loud in your face, it still switches back and forth between those tonal qualities. And so there's some switch ups going on there. And then one thing that I want to talk about is there is that one synth in the build up towards like, and it's like, it has that bend to it and it kind of makes you feel disoriented. I don't know if that's just me, but that's the vibe that kind of comes across. Like, it's kind of hypnotic, kind of disorientating.
I think I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a little bit after that, the tempo starts picking up, like, dramatically until we get the really bass-heavy part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called an accelerando. Have you ever heard of a retardando in music?
I think so. I mean, I haven't heard of it, but I can make out what it probably means.
Yeah, retardando is when you, like, slow gradually, and accelerando would be the opposite of that, where you pick up gradually or not gradually. Just not an abrupt tempo change like some of the things that we've seen in the past, like Jardel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that has a lot of tempo changes, but they're all abrupt and immediate. This one is rather smooth and takes some time to reach the full speed. So I think all of that, with all of the aspects of the song being kind of all over the place, it kind of, well, that in combination with the just very aggressive sound in general, it very much gives the effect that the narrator is, like, fully taking control of the pain by purposefully inflicting more.
Yep.
That's kind of the vibe I get from this.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely one of those songs that you need knowledge in music to kind of piece together the story, which is why I conveniently called you here.
Yippee!
I think there's parts in here that I generally, this is one of the songs that I have no idea what to do with this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the idea that I got at first, which is the only idea I had before I gave up really, was this. So far we've seen how the addiction affects him, not from his perspective, from a third person perspective, like seeing how his body reacts, not his mind. But I think this is the opposite. We're seeing his mind, not his body. I suddenly take a deep breath. I want to feel everything. It doesn't fail. It doesn't get old. Nothing compares. I have no straw to smoke. I drink the I don't even know how to pronounce that. How did you pronounce that?
Reagent, probably. I actually have no idea.
In Portuguese is reagente. Like the G is a sh sound.
Interesting.
Yeah. To get rid of the taste. I'm of the opposite sex, which this is a very weird line. It feels like it doesn't belong here.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
Neither. And I don't feel my face anymore. I feel like this is definitely like, this is the moment where it starts hitting him. And we should
try.
Go on.
We should try and decode the "I'm of the opposite sex" line, because I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means either. I mean, a banger line, but
could it be talking about the partner of the narrator, or really like the person they had a relationship with?
Maybe.
Because that's like the best that I've got for that. I don't know.
It could also be part of the trip they're having.
Yep, part of the what?
Part of the trip they're having.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be them coming out, you know, well done. Be who you are. And all of us.
Trans rights.
Trans rights. I don't really know much what to do with it.
Yeah, I think I've said all that I have for that.
Yeah. I feel like this song is just like a big question mark for me. I don't know what to do with it. It feels like one big, like, it's part of the puzzle. It's a big part, like it's a piece that should be there. But it feels like if you just hand me this piece by itself, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I obviously need it to get the full picture, but I don't know what to do with it without comparing it to others. If that makes sense.
I really think it's just like aggression about needing more of this addiction. Like, really getting crazy with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really, I have to say. And the repetition of the fuck the scabs, we lick the wounds. That is self-destruction at its best. It's quite literally taking away your body's way of healing a wound and just putting your tongue, which has the most, it's like the part of your body that has the most bacteria, directly onto the wound.
Yeah.
That is asking for an infection to occur.
Só uma noite bastou para mudar a sua vida para sempre. E agora enfrenta a derradeira decisão. Fama, vício e fortúnio. Qual será A escolha, qual será o destino? É só Harakiri, baby.
I think this track
Incredible.
being titled the same as the album just describes so much, because knowing that João told the audience that this track was him just spamming a bunch of I forgot the word.
Soundboard.
Yeah, he just had a soundboard and he spammed every single like free thing that he could, and he was pissing himself laughing. Like, it's the eagle, it's the roar, it's the this is just funny, and it feels like I don't know what to do with this, bro. It's just here. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just vibing here. Like, just one night was enough to change his life forever. Now he faces the ultimate decision: fame, addiction, misfortune. What will be the choice? What will be the destiny? It's just Harakiri, baby. Which, what will be the choice? What will be the destiny? That's almost exactly what's said in Jardel.
Yeah. And like, sonically, that interlude is just so stupid and it's so like unserious. But I feel like that's a way of like masking the actual like very serious lyrics that are being told. Because obviously, Harakiri is ritual suicide by disembowelment with a sword, formerly practiced in Japan by samurai as an honorable alternative to disgrace or execution. Like, that's the topic being talked about while there's the fucking rah.
There's an eagle.
Like,
there's the rah.
Yeah.
There's so many words.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking them in Portuguese. I can't even like tell you them because I don't know how to translate them. My mind is just too fucking funny.
But like, yeah, the narrator is facing this decision of like, okay, what do I do next? Do I keep letting this pain destroy me, or do I take control of things myself and end it myself with these fatal and irreversible actions? But we're not actually going to think about this. Instead, we're just going to mask it all with these silly sound effects, because why not? We've just been distracting ourselves from what?
Because like, life is too short. I already like revived. Like, let me make the most of my time.
Yeah, then like, the narrator has already been distracting themselves through other means, so now they're just doing it again, but in a very, very obvious way.
Yeah.
And very upfront, literal.
Because I think the just one night was enough to change his life forever is very much referring to when he died. Because that's the starting point of the album, and I think it's what changes him. Not only because, well, he died and went to purgatory or limbo, but because the person he had like a codependent relationship with left him.
Okay, so you know how you keep saying that he died, like, the very first thing? While I do feel like that is about him dying initially, I think that's just like
metaphorical.
You know how in the beginning of Mizumoto it like opens with Hannibal. Listen, you know how it starts with like Hannibal and Jack fighting, but then it goes back to like however long before, and then it's not for a while until we actually see that happening like in real time. I think that's what's happening here, maybe. Like, I think it's talking about, oh yeah, he dies, but then it goes back to before he died and then what leads up to it. So I don't think he actually dies again until the very end, like in the next song. But that could just be me. Who knows?
Maybe. Okay, yeah, I see what you... Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Okay, as in, Jardel, everything that happens after Jardel is a flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. So, if we then look back at all the tracks since Jardel that we mentioned that, oh, they were left with their, like, without their codependent partner. I think it's just them, it's not that the partner left, it's that the partner isn't feeding that anymore, if that makes sense. Like, they're still together, they're just not as invested as they once were, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing this differently, okay.
Who knew this 30-second interlude would have so much commentary?
Mais uma vez, talvez fosse posso ser melhor.
This song is the complete opposite of F Doido, which is ironically like the how'd you say that again?
Reprise?
The
Yeah.
reprise of it is right after this. Which is ironic, because I think they're complete opposites.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. So the sound is very sad and contemplative, and I think the narrator is still in the process of figuring out what they're going to do next. The narrator mentions this act of faith, and that could be the harakiri. And so...
The act of faith, actually, it was one of the things that took me a while to translate as well. An auto de fe is a religious ceremony. I don't know how to translate it into English, that's why I put an act of faith.
Harakiri is also a ritualist. Yeah, I feel like the narrator is really trying to figure out if they're going to commit and go through with this act of faith or the harakiri, as the suffering seems to have consumed them, or should they try something else, another way of changing things? Because in the lyrics here, there's I could change, I could try another way. So is that an alternative to harakiri? What's going on here? And then it gets very chaotic at the end again, very overwhelming, and I feel like that would reflect how the narrator must feel making such a difficult and possibly life-altering decision and permanent decision.
The auto de fe, let me try to translate this, is a ceremony where the...
Now, is that, like, Portuguese specific? Or is that just...
Portuguese, Brazilian, Spanish, and Mexican.
Okay.
It's...
So that's not like a...
Yeah, it's a Romance
that
language
word
type
for... What?
It's a Romance language, I think.
Okay.
It's a ceremony where the accused, I think, are made to participate before they're condemned, and they have to ask for forgiveness publicly. That's what the first line means.
Okay.
After seeing this as this is the consequence after the flashback, like, this is him still in hell. This is not him in heaven or in heaven, right? Not in heaven, in earth or anything. This is him considering his options. Technically, he hasn't betrayed his friends. He's still thinking about that.
Yeah.
And this is not exactly of the lyrics, but it's a personal experience of the for the body never to fit again. That is such a transcoded line. João Borsch gets me. We get each other. We see each other.
You are literally the same person.
Except I can't sing and I'm not a drummer. Or a producer.
You should represent Portugal in Eurovision next year.
That would be so embarrassing. I'll just put João Borsch doing it for me, bro.
There's the very dark and aggressive sound, obviously. So the previous track was the narrator being very contemplative and thinking about their next actions. And now I feel like this one is, has the narrator committed this act of harakiri? Have they? Well, it seems like they've done more damage to themselves with locking the door, internal bleeding, and the oh no's in the bridge kind of give the vibes of initial panic after having stabbed themselves, disemboweling themselves, and then right after, like directly after, oh no, is finally, free. So after the initial panic, it gives way to the succeeding feeling of relief as they are finally free and they've gotten what they wanted. And then the silly circus sound at the end, I feel like that's something that you typically hear as like a concluding thing, so that marks the end of the suffering and the bad situation that they were in.
For the circus, I actually think, going back to how we said that it was a flashback, I think this song in specific shows that it isn't. Because if he was still in hell, I don't think that he would have a body to commit harakiri anymore. And also, the circus sounds circle back to Jardel, where the narrator
very theatrical.
not only that, but the narrator, which is the devil, mentions that hell is a circus.
Mm.
So,
Doesn't the next song also have circus stuff going on?
probably yes. I actually didn't realize this could have been him committing Harakiri until he mentioned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I felt like the lyrics made it, like, kind of obvious. I don't know. That's just what I immediately thought of upon hearing it.
I mean, I only really connected the dots once I saw that picture of João committing Harakiri. That picture goes so hard.
It does!
I think, actually, this kind of feels like two storylines that separated after Jardel. It's him, what if both choices were chosen? On one hand...
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'll get more into it. On one hand, if he chose to save himself and condemn his friends, everything that happened until now is linear. And this is him regretting doing what he did and committing Harakiri as a way to ask for forgiveness. So he can go back to hell and perhaps go back to his friends.
Okay.
And on the other hand, if what happened until now was a flashback, then I don't, because it's obvious that he died from the car crash. The music videos make that obvious.
Keep in mind that I didn't watch that, so I didn't have that. Also, I didn't have that.
I'm not judging you for it. I'm trying to piece the story together here, trying to figure out what's happening. Him committing Harakiri in hell while considering his options, it's not clicking. There's something there. I'm missing a piece. But then the second one would make more sense with the next song and the music video for the next song.
Oh yeah, there's a music video.
Yeah.
Vejamos se é o meu veneno a te sossegar. Oh, bota abaixo, estou só a começar. Se temos contrato a te celebrar, que remédio hás de voltar para desfogar.
So we're back to the happy major key sound. The dark aggression has gone away for this last track. Wait, let me pull up the lyrics too. So in the first verse, when the narrator goes, "I'm not proud of all I did. No, I don't regret anything." So that's them saying that they're glad that they did what they did to get out of the situation, and obviously they don't regret it. So they think that committing this act of harakiri was a good thing that needed to be done. And then in the second verse, there's this mention of oysters, truffles, ivory, rosemary tea, silk, satin, whipped cream, strawberries, caviar, and all these like nice delicacies and like fancy materials and things, showing that there are now all of these great things to be seen and enjoy. And I think this might go back to like religious themes, because all of these good things kind of conjure images of like heaven, question mark. So perhaps that is where the narrator has gone, and the devil did not get this narrator. What do you think?
I think it's different. I think they're back in hell in here. Because
Oh, really?
bridge, the way that João is singing is very obviously the same tone in which he used in Jardel for the devil.
Yeah.
The let us see if it's my poison quieting you down. Oh, down it. I'm only beginning. It should have been I'm only starting. Sorry. I killed that translation there. If we have a contract, a celebration is in place. What choice do you have? Which mirrors that same line of what choice do you have was said in Jardel as well. A day will come where you will get revenge. A day will come where you get revenge. I think he's still in hell. I think that this is the worst outcome he could have had. I think that
The worst outcome.
yeah, I think that
Well, then what's up with all of the like very good things in the second verse?
it's
Is that all like
the
a
Last
facade?
Supper.
Oh, okay.
Basically, what I think happened is that he took the deal of putting himself before his friends, and then reviving himself, and then in the end realizing that it's not worth it in committing the act of harakiri. And then when he ends up in the purgatory again, he's just condemned to hell this time, because there's no escape to it. So now he's forced to face his past. He's forced to tie up loose ends in this Last Supper where nobody there
Yippee!
likes him. And they have a contract, a celebration is in place, and a day will come while he gets revenge. And the chorus straight after the devil speaks. 1, and I revive. 2, I'm infinitely doubling. Can't refuse. 1 headache. Little patience for a healthy routine. Towards the start of tomorrow. That's the main character. That's the character speaking. Realizing that he also doesn't want to be in the Last Supper. He realized that he fucked up, and there's nothing he can do apart from wait until tomorrow. And then the outro. 1 for my soul. 2, and I bite the tail. I can't refuse. Can't ever refuse. He's just accepted it. I feel like he's just come to terms with the fact that he's, I don't know how to pronounce this properly. Hedonist?
Yeah, hedonist.
He just come to terms with the fact that that's him. That he's stuck in hell for the rest of his time now. That he took the bait, and now he has to deal with it.
Well,
We have very different interpretations of how this story ends.
I think yours might be the more correct one.
Depends. There's only one person that knows how to answer that. That person right now is in Lisbon. Do you want to do a recap of the story so far? Like, not so far, of the story as a total of what you think the album is trying to tell?
Yeah. Why don't you say it?
I think that he is in a codependent relationship, and because he's so far gone in his own misery, he gets in a car accident, and he pleads for the person to help, even though it's very backhanded. The person doesn't help. They end their relationship there, and he's sent to purgatory. In purgatory, he gets a choice to either stay in hell and save his friends, or have his friends stay in hell and save himself. He saves himself. He goes back to Earth, now with an addiction on his back. He makes a ton of bad decisions and realizes that there is no running away from his choices. Being revived wasn't worth it. And then he commits the act of harakiri as a way of asking for forgiveness. It's an act of faith. And then when he's back in hell, he is forced to have this Last Supper for his friends to see the betrayer, and that's his hell, really.
I think we came up with some good conclusions on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still sticking with mine.
Go
I
on.
think that, again, it starts off with him dying, and then immediately after, it goes back to the beginning, and all of the parts of what led to that moment, which is finally brought back around at the very end. So, yeah.
Do you think he ends up in heaven or hell?
I don't know, because now after you've said your stuff about that piece, the Last Supper thing does kind of make sense.
I do like your interpretation as well.
Why, thank you. I did that at like 3 a.m. I was so tired. But yeah.
Thank you.
We did it.
Thank you for interpreting this whole album with me. It will be very useful.
Absolutely.
It will probably
Absolutely,
give me a
this
good
was very
grade as
fun.
well.
Yay!
Yippee.
You gotta tell me how you do.
Oh, of course I will.
Yippee!
Yippee.